Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Ben. And I don't know if you pronounce it Albert or Albert. I have difficulties.
It's Albert, like Albert Einstein.
Oh my goodness, Albert Einstein, and I'm in the country where I don't know, he lived for a little while. I'm in Germany. Thank you so much for saying yes to be my guest. I want to introduce you to the audience. Let me see, you are the owner of B. Albert. How do you pronounce this?
That
Balbert
works. It's
Marketing.
B Albert or Balbert. They
I
both
love
work.
that
Ben
because
Albert Marketing.
Albert, it has the word, be Albert, like become Albert. I love that very much. A marketing LLC, and you are the curator of the Real Business Connections Network. You were once an underdog, now a successful entrepreneur. You are passionate about helping other underdogs achieve their dreams. And then you are on a mission to actually move the needle on 1 million lives, one conversation at a time. This is your time to shine now. Our conversation is the next conversation in your
It is.
life. So I'm happy that you are here. And my first question is, what inspires you?
What inspires? I'm going to go straight to the keychain. I sometimes show this to people because it gets a laugh, but I have a keychain that says there is no key.
Oh my
It's a
goodness.
keychain for anyone listening to audio that says there is no key, because what inspires me, the understanding that there is not one key to success. I believe it's a combination lock, similar to a padlock at the gym. Everyone's going to have a unique combination, similar to the fact we all have, they take our fingerprint when we get in trouble because we have a unique fingerprint. So, what inspires me? Finding my combination, figuring out, doing the introspection of like being curious and learning every day, learning from every conversation, finding my way, understanding my story, and helping others understand their story and find their way as well. So, what inspires me? Just the fact that I don't know what today's going to bring. And if I'm curious and I'm excited, I can learn something new and it can get closer and closer to finding that perfect combination that is Ben.
I love what you said. It's the best thing I ever heard, finding out every day, find the combination. I love that. There is no key. So there are people out there, they claim they have the key. And then they sell you their key, which is not bad for to start with, and then you realize, it's not the only key you need. And then you get another key and another key, but it takes the combination. I love that you pointed that out. My next question is, who inspires you? Do you have coaches or mentors for yourself? And who was the best coach you ever had?
Whew, I don't think I can single out and say the best. I will say the best coach I ever had. It was never a coach. It's my grandmother. And I was a shy kid. I barely spoke the first 13 years of my life. And at the dinner table, she would sit at the top of the table, and I'd always sit to the right next to grandma, same spot. Still to this day, I go and I sit next to grandma. I get anxiety if I don't have that spot because I was a shy kid and I didn't speak much, but all she would do is ask questions and listen. And she brought out the best in me at a very young age. So that was inspiring. And she, without trying, was the best coach or mentor you could ever have, just by letting a quiet kid be the life of the party and listening and asking questions and caring. And I learned a lot from that. And so that is the one. But my first thought was like, how do I pick one? Because like you, I have a podcast and I meet mentors and brilliant people on a daily basis that I have a laundry. I pay about 5 to 6 people, but I have a laundry list of people that I learn from. Because as we started with, we have something new to learn every single day, and it's a ton of fun.
Yes, it is definitely. I love that you mentioned your grandmother, and as well, you said at the same time you said it's not a coach. I think she was, or she is a coach.
Yes.
In when we, yeah, I think without knowing or without labeling herself, without having a business card saying I'm a coach, she was a coach. She is. Yeah, I love what you said. Panicking when you not get that place, the same place beside her.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
It's I want it's by now it's almost a ritual and possibly a bad habit, but I get anxiety if
Mm.
someone sits in my seat. That's not going to happen.
Yes. And my next question is, how do you inspire other people? Because now you are speaking. So something happened in between, and you
Yeah.
are very inspiring to me.
So, without going into a really deep framework I have, to simplify it, plus, minus, and equals. A plus is a mentor, it's a coach, it's someone you're paying to learn from, or a YouTuber or podcast you're learning from. A minus is your audience. It's your client, it's the people you're coaching, it's the people you're mentoring. Equal is your peer to peer. It's the people maybe in the same industry as you, or maybe in a similar industry, and you become referral partners and you just get along and you chat and you share best practices. I try to have a lot of people in all three. So I'm learning from mentors all the time. I have a peer group called Grow Getters Only. It is my mastermind, but it's peer to peer support. And then my podcast and my marketing services is for the one to many. It's for helping businesses reach their audience. And the podcast is for reaching as many people as possible. So a little bit of everything. But how do I do it? I do it through a podcast, I do it through a mastermind, and I get inspired every day by having mentors in my life. So it's kind of just sharing what I'm learning as I go.
Wow, this is the best answer. I never heard about that. Of course, I know those plus, minus, and equal. I never heard it in that context, let's say. And of course, I have to ask, what are your gifts and talents?
Mm, wow. In what context?
Oh, in so I always say like gifts are things we have by birth, given by birth, like gifts, like yeah, and the talents are like skills you learn from, yeah, I don't know. So if you can name one or two, you are very good in, because and the background of this question is I ask the questions to my guests that I want the answer for myself, because last year when I started the podcast I didn't know what my gifts and talents were. And now I would say the podcast is one of my talent because I love it and I love it so much at the same time, you know.
Yeah. And part of why I asked that clarifying question is like a podcast host is a talent of mine, marketing skills, sales skills. I've gotten better at a communicator. I think I'm still working on that. I'm going to get better. But at the core of that is just a love of learning, the acknowledgement that life is a constant evolution. I'm either evolving or I'm depreciating. And I think one of my true gifts is kind of having a rough childhood, which we didn't go into. We don't have to. But at a very young age, I had a chip on my shoulder. And if I grow every single day, if I'm curious every single day, if I connect with others every single day, we really have limitless opportunities. So, sure, podcasting or marketing or building a group is kind of how it comes to the surface. But at the core, it's just a love of learning and a willingness to be wrong, a willingness to learn and fail.
Absolutely. Yes, because yeah, we know this. How do we learn? By looking at our results, and if they stay the same, there is no learning. When we change something, you mentioned Albert Einstein before we started the recording. No, it was in the recording,
Yeah, I think it was.
and you mentioned, and it is his definition of insanity is thinking the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? The learning curve is we do or better think different things, look at our different results, and this is the learning. We have this aha moment. You talked about learning. I love what you said because it's so easy. The love of learning, you said, and the not effects, but what you see on the outside, how it is materialized, so to say, is in
Mhm.
groups, podcasts, and your marketing. If I if I summarize this
Correct.
enough. Thank you so much. My next question is about your goals. Do you set goals for yourself or intentions? And what is one of your goals for 2024?
Oh, I like how you asked for 2024, which makes it really simple. Um, I don't want to give the number because I'm not here to be braggadocious, but I started an investment account in 2019. No one taught me investing. No one taught me how money worked. And it was actually quite a bummer in 2020 when the pandemic hit and I had no money to my name because I was like, I want to invest all the money now because the market is down. But I started investing in 2019 and I have a number in that account that I've been visualizing reaching. And I think that I'm going to be able to reach it this year. So money doesn't buy happiness, but reaching that number gives me that security that, wow, I started something a few years ago and now I'm reaching a income level that I had not imagined. So that's one big goal for the year, but more important than anything is the daily goals. There's certain non-negotiables and just checking the box that I got everything done and winning more than I lose on my daily goals is what gets me to an investment account, a bigger business, a bigger podcast, all those aspirational things. But it's the daily work that really gets me there.
Oh, that's so true. It's the little steps and they sum up, and we underestimate what we can do in, let's say, 5 years. You mentioned 2019, and I remember I did the exact same thing, but the markets, from 2019, they were going, yeah, down. Yeah, I witnessed. So that means I bought at at a high level,
Yeah.
and then it went all down. And I remember sitting there with my mobile phone. There was this app coming out and you could trade and watch it, and I watched it because we had nothing to do, we were at home. It was so nice, that period. So congratulations
Thank
in not the number but the determination or setting this goal, and yeah, and you are progressing every day. We know this, there's this 1%. I don't know, if you improve
you.
1% per day, then what we can reach, all that. And I have one last question for you. And it is, when people reach out to you after listening to this episode, please reach out to Ben. He's amazing. Then, do you have special offers or services for the inspired podcast community?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of things. We're having a conversation. I like just having a conversation and learning from others. So we had touched on the mastermind. That's an easy thing to bring up. Grow Getters Only, growgettersonly.com. I put this offer that people keep telling me to like take down, but it's $1 for 30 days. So I just tell people spend $1, come hang out. You'll meet dozens of people. We have keynote workshops, so you'll have world class. We have a 4-time Emmy award winning interviewer coming next week. So just an invitation. If you have $1, come hang out. I'll buy it for you. And if you like it, stay a while. But I think that's a good offer just to invite people to come hang out if they want to network and meet good people.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And it's generous as well, $1. And you know what I witnessed during our interview? I wanted to say internet. During our interview is your playfulness. You talked about games and somehow it's like it's fun and hanging out. I think the vocabulary, it's very, it's relaxing. It's
I,
without pressure and yeah, having fun.
I'm easygoing. If it's not fun, I don't do it. So I'm pretty easygoing, and if it's not a good fit, then people move on. And life's better. I've learned to say no to a lot of things because I want to just have fun. I want to enjoy myself. I want to work with people I like. And that's kind of another philosophy, I suppose.
Yes, and this was the answer to the question I didn't ask. So yeah, I always give time for the guests to for their last message, and I think this was a great last message and a lesson I have to learn, because let's say about the fun part. This is so true. If it's not fun, then don't do it. Don't force yourself to do things you don't feel it, right? And how do you feel it? You feel it in the beginning. So you don't have to test it in order to find out, oh, it's no fun, right?
Can the last message be a small caveat? Not everything's going to be super fun. So you do need to do the introspection that some parts of podcasting are less fun than other parts. But overall, I love it. No relationship's perfect, but does the good outweigh the bad? And is it in alignment with what you're trying to accomplish? When I go to the gym, it's not always fun, but I get a lot of benefits. So I want to add that caveat that it doesn't have to be perfect. It might be difficult, but you need to enjoy it. It needs to be something you value. And I guess that would be the last word.
Yes, absolutely. And this reminds me of your equation, the plus and the minus and the equal, that
Mm,
it's balanced. It's all balanced at the end, right?
it
Wow.
is.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Thanks for
Wow.
having me.
And see you in the next episode.